Hello to my fellow Stat252er who is watching this, and Dr. Frame if you're also watching this. I was assigned problem number 57. Let's get right into it. At the top here, I name all of my variables. The population P1 is the proportion of all business managers that say they study hard. P2 is the proportion of non-business managers that say they study hard. N1 and N2 respectively, 120 business managers, and N2, 150 non-business managers. P1 hat, P2 hat, calculating a sample proportion, the number of successes over the number of cases in the sample. So in this case, 20 business managers over 120 total, 48 non-business managers over 150 total. We get these two values, 0.1667 and 0.32. Let's take a look over here at our hypotheses in this red box. The null hypothesis, when we translate this from math to English, means that we believe that the difference, or we believe that the two proportions are the same, because two numbers that are the same value, subtract them, you get 0. The alternative hypothesis, what we're testing here, is the proportion of non-business majors who say they study hard greater than the proportion of business majors that study hard. Algebraically, when we look at the alternative hypothesis, we add the P2 over to solve the inequality, and we would get P1 less than P2, which would translate to English, once again, would translate to the proportion of non-business majors that say that they study hard is greater than the proportion of business majors that say they study hard. So let's do some math to test these hypotheses. In order to do the hypothesis test, we're going to need a p-value. In order to do a p-value, we're going to need a test statistic, or z. In order to do the test statistic, we're going to need to find the standard deviation of the difference between the two population proportions, the two sample population proportions, excuse me. So here's the formula that was in the workbook, and when you plug in the values for each respective value, this is the total that you get. You get 0.0511. If you have a question on how I got these values, the sample proportions right here, and n, you just plug them in directly. Once you've gotten your standard deviation for the difference of the two proportions, you can compute your test statistic. The formula from the workbook is here, the difference between two proportions minus the hypothesized difference over the standard deviation. Plug it in, you get -3. So now we need to find the p-value. We go over here to jump with the distribution of probability calculator, plug in -3 right here. It's a left-tailed test because the alternative hypothesis says less than. Plug it in, we get our p-value of 0.0013, and now we have everything to do a conclusion, so let's scroll over here. The conclusion is that we reject the null hypothesis because 0.0013 is less than the alpha we were given, the 5% significance level of 0.05. So in conclusion, we can say at the 5% significance level, we can conclude the proportion of business majors that say they study hard is less than the proportion of non-business majors that say they study hard. Thank you for watching, and have a nice weekend.